So I'm Dr. Janani. So today I'm going to do a spine examination for you. Are you having any pain currently?
No.
Did you have any recent injuries or falls?
No.
Right. Miss Mary, before I start, I'm going to ask you to stand first so I can watch you walk first. Thank you. Would you please walk in from the end to this end? So the first thing we're going to do is, after doing the general inspection, we're going to watch out for patients' gait. We're going to look for whether how is the swing face and the spine face. And because normally a patient with spine examination or spine injuries, they can have antalgic gait if they're having scoliosis. Right, thank you. So we're going to look out for that. And the second thing we're going to do is we're going to do inspection. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to look from the front actually. Simple thing, we're going to look for the shoulder asymmetry and the shape of the shoulder and the front portion and the chest to see for any asymmetrical shoulders that can show us that maybe the spine has an issue. The next thing we're going to do is look by the side, where we're going to look out for the normal curvature of spine, so cervical lordosis, the kyphosis, and the lumbar lordosis. The third thing we're going to do is we're going to do inspection from the behind. We are actually supposed to look at for any swellings or any skin discoloration, as well as any hair growth or any deformity, obvious deformity like hump on the back. Right, thank you. Right. We're going to move on for the second thing we're going to do is palpation. And I'm going to ask you to turn back again. I'm so sorry. Right, we're going to examine for two things. We're going to start with the spinosus processes. So we're going to start from the cervical region. We're going to palpate all the way down. Have you have any pain?
No.
We're going to palpate the SI joints as well. Any pain?
No.
Okay. The next thing we're going to do is examine the paraspinal muscles. Have any pain here?
No.
Okay. Alright, great. Right. Can you go to the front? We're going to move on to check for the range of motion. We're going to look for the cervical range of motion, the thoracic, and also the lumbar. So I'm going to start with the cervical first. Would you please look down to your toes, right, for the normal extension, flexion. Right. Can you look up to the ceiling for the normal cervical flexion, extension? Please look to your right and to your left. This is for cervical rotation, 0 to 80 degrees. Thank you. The next thing we're going to do is for the lateral cervical flexion. We're going to do one is that we're going to ask the patient to touch the right ear to your right shoulder. Can you do that for me? And also for your left ear to your left shoulder. Okay. Right. Thank you. Next thing we're going to do is for the lumbar region. What we're going to do is I'm going to ask you to bend down to touch your toes, but to keep your knees straight. Okay. Right. 0 to 20 degrees. Right. Great. That's great. Can you please turn to the... Now I'm going to ask you to lean backwards as much as you can. I'll be holding you back.
Okay.
This is for lumbar extension and it's normally 10 to 20 degrees as well. The third thing we're going to do is we're going to do a lateral, lumbar lateral flexion, which I'm going to ask you to do straight down all the way to your toes. Alright, okay. Keep it straight. Alright, and this side. Okay, excellent. Right. Thank you. And then that's it. For thoracic range of motion, I'm going to ask you to sit. Okay. You're going to cross your arms around your chest. Okay. And then I'm going to ask you to turn to your right and to your left. Okay. Okay. Alright, great. Okay, thank you. So I think we're going to move on to do special tests for spine examination to assess for the SI joint, also for facet joint pains and all that. So I'm going to do the first thing is I'm going to do for chest circumference. For chest circumference is actually to look up for ankylosing spondylitis. It's where we actually measure during the chest expansion with the hands around over the head, and we're going to palpate and reach for the fourth intercostal space, and the patient's going to take a deep breath in and we're going to measure around. The normal chest expansion it should be around 7 centimeters. However, if the patient's difference of the chest infection expansion is less than 5 cm and shows us ankylosing spondylitis. The next thing we're going to do is I'm going to ask you to do the shoulder test. This is to actually test for the ankylosing spondylitis as well. So I might need you to step forward and turn towards the back. Give some space in front for you to bend. Right, what we're going to do is actually we're going to feel for the nipple of Meniere's, right? The PSIS, and we're going to mark the center of it between. Okay. And we're going to mark 10 cm above and 5 cm below, and we're going to ask the patient to bend forward, the knee straight as much as can. Right. And we're going to measure. Okay, yes. So once we have measured the difference, we will count, measure, and we'll see the difference. If it's less than 5 cm, it's suggestive of ankylosing spondylitis, and it's actually modified Schirmer test. Right, okay, thank you. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put you down on supine line. Right, and we're going to do some simple tests to locate the SI joint pain. The simple test that we always can do all the time is the straight leg raise test. Just simple, patient just have to lift up, flex his hip. I'm going to dorsiflex the foot. Do you have anything? No. Alright, great. The other one is for Gainsland's test. For Gainsland's test, what we're going to do is one leg, the one affected is straight up, and the other one we're going to put it hanging. And we're going to put pressure on both sides. Do you have anything? No. We're going to flex the hip. Alright. Do you have anything? No. Alright. Okay. And then the other one we're going to do is the CAM test, is to actually provocate for the facet joint pain, where we can actually ask the patient to sit on this. Sorry. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you to bend forward, and we're going to ask the patient to forward flexion at the point that the patient is having pain. If it's the right side, put it that side. Do you have any pain? No. Alright, great. Okay. Thank you. That's for CAM test, and doing that test actually will provocate the facet joint pains. Lastly, I'm going to do is the femoral nerve stretch test. Okay, that is to test on the femoral nerve impingement. You're going to ask the patient to lie prone. Okay. And we're going to flex the hips and the knee as well. Right. Okay. Is there any pain? If there's a pain, patient actually that suggests us it's probably a femoral nerve impingement. Okay, right, thank you, Miss Mary. See you. Thank you.